June the 17th, 2021. As you're looking at the 4 p.m. update from the National Hurricane Center, and we're starting to get some movement on the storm, and we're looking at 4 p.m. Thursday, right here where the X is, and that's where it was 44 minutes ago, showing it going into a tropical depression tonight, and by 1 p.m. Friday, tomorrow afternoon, you're looking at a tropical storm, and this would be Claudette. 1 a.m. Saturday, it's coming ashore in somewhere in the central Louisiana area. Now, tropical storm warnings are in these blue lines. Let me pull this up. You can see we have, tropical storm warnings all the way from central Louisiana to the Floribama. Yeah, you know where I'm talking about. The restaurant and bar that's right on the beach at the Florida and Alabama line. Everyone knows that place if you're from there. But notice in the blue lines here, this is tropical storm warnings, not watches. So the system is very large, and it's starting to get a center of rotation. And so tonight, they're looking for the development to increase, then again becoming Claudette by sometimes noon or after tomorrow. We don't know the strength of the storm yet. The area that it's going into is very warm. The waters are very warm. But let's take a satellite look at it, and we'll go from there. Now, this is the current information. This is coming in today. You can see the timestamp at the bottom. And they've moved that X out into the Gulf of Mexico, here, just out of the Bay of Campeche. And they're starting to see the center of it right here. It's wrapped in storms on the southeast side up to the northeast side. And northeast is always the strongest part of any hurricane. And a couple of things I want to say here. When we began this watch, which seems like it's been a month, it's been a week or so, as this system has moved here and just stopped in the Bay of Campeche, that Florida would get regardless of the path, that Florida would get a lot of moisture, and you see that's continuing now, and they needed it. I don't know if you guys are sick of it yet or not, but it's better to be sick of it than be in drought, right? Right. And so we're seeing a lot of, again, broad area of low pressure. This is what we're dealing with. It's going to continue to move north, possibly northeast just a little over the next few hours into tomorrow. And then by then, tropical storm. When they get to a tropical storm, you really got to pay attention to it. Even in a tropical depression, though, just as I said earlier, that regardless of the path, there's going to be a lot of moisture involved. And I think the very first video I did this on, I was talking about massive flooding. And again, New Orleans, if you're looking at, I think the official number that you could get was 9.8 something inches from this storm. And then up around Hattiesburg, 6 and 7 inches. So there's going to be a lot of moisture involved. So, and it's always, I've seen it before that you'll have a storm like this come in, and it doesn't take but about a week later, and you're watching something else. It's just that time of year. Now, I want to point out a couple of things. It's the same satellite, but we're looking at water vapor images. And the darker the green into the almost green blues, that's the most moisture, and you can see it here. But if you come ashore and look along the northern Gulf states, Mississippi and everywhere, you see this dark blue. That's drier air. And you can see where they're colliding. And right now, the system in the Gulf is the stronger system because it's been holding this edge between the front that's been moving in and making the temperatures much nicer today here in the southeast. Humidity going from 99 to now we're at 54% humidity. That's a tremendous difference. Whether 86 and the real feel is 86, that's the difference. And this morning we were in the 60s instead of the 80s at daylight. And you can see this boundary. You got a few storms up in Arkansas moving into Oklahoma. But here, again, this is the section where the moisture is, and you can see where it's been streaming across Florida for several days. But the water vapor, again, as this thing picks up and becomes a tropical storm, we'll see how wet it becomes. But right now, again, it's extremely high rates of rain for the most, the deepest depression in the south, and that is the city of New Orleans in that bowl below sea level. And many of you have seen it before. So guys, again, let us know in the comments if you know about the pumping information. Probably WNOE or somebody down in the New Orleans area, somewhere like that, would have it, and put it into the comments, because that some of the other people that come in and watch the video may get a lot from that and understand what that means to where they're at and their elevation. Now, the spaghetti models have been updated 23 minutes ago. Notice your timestamp, 5:30 p.m. That's Eastern. It's 4:53 p.m. Central. And the two big players have got into this card game of where the storm's going to go. Now, the CMC is not dedicated a very long line, but it's moving very close to where the Navy is. And the CMC is this light green. You can see at the very top of the scale. And the Navy is kind of a light purple right there. And the CMC and the Navy are kind of hand in hand up to this point. Then you see the Navy model take off and come into just west of central Louisiana, and that's going to put the northeast quadrant of the storm to the east of there. Move up through right exactly where we're at in central Mississippi, up into Alabama, out into Atlanta, out into through the Carolinas, back into the Atlantic. Hopefully at that point it will continue out to sea, but we're a few days from that. But right now we're dealing with tomorrow named storm, Saturday coming ashore, and there's not much time to be prepared. And one of the things that my brilliant wife brought up that handles our website is we've talked about the price of plywood before, and just your decking that you normally see that they put up above windows and stuff. When I first built my home, it was $6 or $7 a sheet. The last time I mentioned it a few months ago in a video, it was $50 a sheet, and I looked a few days ago, and it was $67 a sheet. So you're going from boarding up your windows from from $6 or $7 a sheet or 4x8 sheet, this plywood, to now $67. Then that's plus tax, so you're knocking out $70 a sheet. And this is the cheapest plywood you can buy. That's the price of lumber, and you have to wonder about that. It's not just price gouging, it's putting it above the ability for a lot of people to build. Back when it was $50 a sheet, you're averaging $38,000, an increase to just a modern home, guys, that in just lumber costs, 38 grand. Think about that. So not only that, but you don't know the availability, so check that out. And a lot of people that are on the coast have saved that wood that they board up the windows with. We don't know how strong the storm will be yet, but those things are always what's important. Another thing, extra water. It's too late to order a water filter if you don't have one, but go to our website. If you don't and get it, you'll have it for the next storm. But you can possibly get bottled water. I know that in some places that's scarce, especially the spring bottled water. Batteries for your flashlights. Make sure your car has enough gas in it. Make sure your lawn chairs are not sitting there and about to blow through your plate glass window. You know what I'm saying? All the precautions. Everyone down here knows the drill. But definitely some extra batteries for your flashlight, because even a tropical depression can spring up tornadoes that will knock out power lines. Be prepared for that. Maybe it won't happen, but if you're sitting around in the dark, then you need those things. Solar panels is the best thing, but at least have some batteries. But here's what we've got going on again. The main models that I see here is the Navy model, and anywhere to the right or left, that's the other equations put into the different models. And let me say this about the Navy bringing it in here. As I told you last year with Sally, it was supposed to come in much more to the east, and it turned right at the last moment, just like I said it was, and it about took out everything from Gulf Shores back to Pensacola, Ono Island, Perdido Key. Those places are still trying to rebuild. And so watch for this right turn movement, and it will have to do a lot with how the pressure is setting across the eastern U.S., including into the Gulf. But guys, this is what we got right now. Again, by Saturday, you need to be either out of here or be prepared to stay there. We don't know the strength yet. Could it get to a Cat 1? We don't know. We're going to have to wait and see how the warmer waters affect it now that it's starting to wrap up. And guys, just a quick look at the weather tomorrow in New Orleans, Louisiana, because that's going to be one of the impacted places. But you can gather the surrounding information from this. Just not go to AccuWeather and put your city in. But tomorrow, during the day, 84 high, and that's going to be cool for this time of the year in the south. You can see thunderstorms. Not as warm, breezy in the morning with thunderstorms followed by occasional rain and the thunderstorm in the afternoon. The alerts that are out, coastal flood warnings, flash flood watches, and coastal flood advisories. All of these are 1 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, and that's when it's supposed to become a tropical storm until 7 p.m. Saturday. So a full 24 hours almost, or more than 24 hours. Think about that. About 20 or 30 hours there, guys. 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. of time that you're going to have to be aware of this, because you're going to have the impact of the storm, the front of it, the center, the behind it, and a lot of these storms that we saw last year, if you remember, especially in Louisiana, that tail stayed out in the ocean for seems like 3 or 4 or 5 days, just pulling moisture in over the same place. And again, the first thing I said about the storm over a week ago was the potential for mega or massive flooding. And that's what I'm still saying. And again, could it get to a Cat 1? We will see, and we'll see how much moisture wraps around the center. We'll be watching it, guys. You watch it. It's a heads up, and I want you to subscribe below. Be safe.